Making mushroom powder is a fantastic way to maximise the mushrooms that you've either grown or foraged. You can use it for a whole load of things, including making mushroom coffee, making a medicinal tincture, or even just for culinary purposes and storage. So what we've got here is some homegrown shiitake mushrooms. We've got a professional dryer. Although you could use an oven, I like to use a dryer because it's quicker and it uses less energy. And we've also got a food processor for whizzing up our dried mushrooms into our final powder. I've also got a mixture of different mushroom varieties here because variety is the spice of life. So many of the most desirable gourmet mushrooms that we know and love, such as these shiitake mushrooms, they are pretty chunky and they're full of water. So what we need to do first of all is cut them into thin slices to make sure that our drying machine works efficiently. So I'll just crack on. I'm going to cut them across the cap into slices of about 2 centimeters thick. So we've chopped up all of our shiitake mushrooms into lovely thin slices, and then we're going to start loading up the dryer. First thing to do is just to set it to somewhere between 50 and 60 degrees. And depending on how thick and what type of mushroom, it might take around about 8 hours for them to dry properly. When you're loading them up into each of the trays, it's really important that you give them enough space between each slice and that there's no overlap, because otherwise you'll have some that are bone dry and ready for storage and others that still have a bit of remnant moisture inside, and that will then lead onto molds forming. Mushrooms are about 90% water, so when they come out of the dryer, don't be surprised if you've got a lot less to look at. That's perfectly normal. And it's really important before you put them onto storage or before you try and powder them that you make sure they are sufficiently dried all the way through. And to do that, you just take a big piece and snap it. You should be looking for a nice clean snap. If it bends first or anything like that, then they need longer to dry. That was good. So after we've done our highly technical snap test and we're certain that the mushrooms are fully dried, the best way to store them is in a glass jar with a rubber seal. So it's really simple, you just add them to the glass jar, you can have it as full as you like, it doesn't really matter. And a nice little tip is to also chuck in a silica gel pack, because then as you open and close the jar over the course of the year, any extra moisture that finds its way in will be soaked up by that, and it will just make sure that everything stays lovely and dry. So we've got our lovely, dry, snappy mushrooms, and the final step of the process is to quickly whiz them up in a blender, and then we'll have the final product, our mushroom powder. Once properly powdered, add it to a resealable glass jar. And here it is, our lovely fine mushroom powder. We can now go on and use this in making medicinal tinctures, mushroom coffee, or even just to sprinkle on top of our pizzas. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to learn more.